Okay, Martin Dale Hash, nice to meet you here in this forum, and thank you very much for coming. I appreciate the notice letting me know that you would be attending. There were, not everybody responded, so I'm very happy that you will be able to have more time than you would have had they come. So let's start with the spiel about why you're running.
All right, so here we are.
Inquiring minds.
Yeah, here we are in in your office. Why are people coming in here? Why do people run every year? Yeah. And they run because of ego. They won't say that. It's like this hidden. Nobody will admit it. Nobody will say, "Hey, I have this ambition to be famous," and that's some self-awareness that I'm expressing right now. That I recognize what the motivations actually are. Unfortunately, a lot of the people who run, they simply haven't even questioned themselves enough to know that they're incompetent to do their job. So if you have to have your competence, you have to have your confidence, and you have to recognize why you're really there, so that you can suppress whatever ego-related reasons. You don't want to be in front of the camera all the time. You don't want to always be on the newspaper. You want to keep that suppressed and use your confidence and your competence to actually do what the job is.
Interesting. So why now? Well, you've been running. You've been running for a while.
I've been trying to figure out what this is.
Okay.
What is this politics thing? I've been successful in business. I have multiple successful businesses. I became wealthy young. I have all this stuff. I got all these degrees, and I've been around the world. And but this politics, this popularity contest thing, I couldn't finally. I watch TV just like everyone else, and I see these buffoons who obviously don't even understand what they're talking about, and they're voting based on what their party identification is rather than what's good for the country. It's absolutely ridiculous. All the successful friends that I talk to think the same thing. They think that the people who get elected are buffoons.
So you want to be a buffoon?
It's like, okay, so I did that part of my life. I did that part of my life where you get to hold up your Ferrari. I did that. And then now I'm to this place where, I want to find out why only the buffoons can get through. And I started over about a dozen years ago going to the meetings. I had the Columbia Arts Center downtown, had lots of people come in. I go to the monthly meetings. I ran as a candidate first time to see what's happening, second time to see what's happening. Each time I got more disillusioned. Each time it became clearer and clearer why the buffoons got elected. And this time, which is what the preparation is, because my skill set is definitely national, even though I ran state offices because I needed to see how the gears worked. And I'm not going to win this time either, so no big surprise. However, there's an opportunity for a split.
Wait a minute.
An opportunity for a split, of which I could advance to the general, at which time then that would really become an election.
I don't want to vote for a loser. Are you telling people not to vote for you?
I'm saying that.
I just think advertising yourself. Let me give you, since you're still learning, it helps to get more votes. So are you afraid? You're not afraid though, are you?
Afraid of nothing, no. I'm a realist. I've been around. I've been successful. I'm the most successful person I've ever met. I have failed at more things than most people have ever tried. And I've also been incredibly successful because I try everything. And I will win for this House position eventually. And there's even a remote chance I will win this time. And if any Democrat thinks they're going to win other than me, I actually have a chance. They're not going to. This is a 60-40 Republican CD district, and there's no Democrat going to win here for the foreseeable future, except maybe me if I can get into the general.
So do you consider yourself a centrist?
Oh, I define centrist. I have a book, The Centrist, you can buy on Amazon.com, and it describes my particular political ideology, which is nothing like you've ever heard before because it's the center.
You're the first centrist?
I am the first one who is clearly defining what the center is. It's not just wishy-washy, I want sometimes this and sometimes that. Yeah. There's a clear centrist ideology which I've expressed in steps of what that would be and how you can make every single decision. So, my original PhD was in computer science, And I was very good at it and recognized for it. And you have to be very logical. Every question is what's difficult. Answers are easy. Because answers can only be yes or no. Computers can only answer yes or no. So it's coming up with that. It's coming up with that question. So I always thought, and I'm talking 30 years, that you should be able to identify, answer every single political question with a series of yes or no answers. And I did that for the book, The Centrist. This is how you could get to the answer of every single political question.
How come? Hey, you can make any faces you want. I am just so relieved you're not using that idiot voice that you do your podcast.
Yeah, well, that's part of the
Pray
fun.
tell, Dr. House.
That's supposed to be entertainment. And I always say when I list it on iTunes, it's humor and politics. It's just entertainment.
Not necessarily in that order. Might be whatever. Okay, so that's really interesting. If you have the key to the universe, how come they don't have that back east?
I mean,
how come
nobody has it?
Hey, did anybody buy your book?
Yeah, that's all. It's like, so are you crazy because you think you're right and everybody else is wrong? Well, I'm the only simultaneously licensed doctor, attorney, engineer, and accountant in the world. Maybe there is only one. I do have the answer. It's hard to tell though.
Yeah.
You have to be self-aware and you have to say, okay, who's right? Am I right or are they right? Well, unless they did as well as I did, then I'm probably right, even though I'm the only one who thinks that way. And that's Benjamin Franklin wasn't always considered, to be what he is today, right? You had to look at him in retrospect and say, oh my gosh, that he may not even have been human, he was so good.
Yeah. So will anyone listen to you in Washington, D.C.? Or are you, hi, I have the answers to everything, let's have a cup of coffee? No, I mean, how do you break the ice with
one-on-one
people of less intelligence?
One-on-one I have no problem. One-on-one, I mean, it's just overwhelming. I can overwhelm someone one-on-one.
Yeah.
There are very self-aware people in Congress, right? And you can talk to them, and then that's going to be a conversation. Trey Gowdy, right? There's people of that. They are self-aware. I'm no more self-aware than they are. Okay, so those folks I can form some kind of alliance with because we are on the same wavelength. And then the ones that just got in because somebody put $100 million into their campaign, well, all you can really do with them is identify who they are and see if they can be manipulated by you because you're not giving them $100 million. And if they can, then I will manipulate them. I will go to every single person in Washington, D.C., and I will talk to them long enough to see what I'm dealing with here. I'm hoping, there hasn't been a lot of proof of this, that 25-30% of the people up there I can make arrangements with. And the first thing I do is stop the tolls over in Oregon. There, that's right.
Good, you got it in. That's good. Okay. Well, of all the things that you could think to run on, that's a pretty local issue. Are you aware of where Congress's jurisdiction is, Mr. Attorney? Are you aware of what your limits are? I mean, is it because of the federal funding that you're focused on that local issue that really is being...
I don't know how many minutes we have,
but
I'll quickly try to go over this. Up until Trump, there's no way that any state could toll a federal highway. It just couldn't happen. You'd have to go and they'd just turn it down. Trump came along and he had this weird, we're going to do infrastructure by putting tolls on roads, and he was going to hand that off to the states. And I was frightened to death, and Oregon got a whiff of that and started up this thing. Thank God that failed. Okay, so Trump is no longer doing the infrastructure plan by selling off all of public assets and then renting them back to the citizens.
And you have Jamie Herrera Butler to thank for part of that.
Well, Jamie Herrera Butler isn't a total fool. She's actually she's going to win. If I can't get against her, she's pretty good. So what now? But it's back. Now a single person who represents this district and has got a powerful enough voice, which I don't know if she has. I actually don't know. She's never impressed me as having a powerful voice, but I have a powerful voice. And I'm going to make sure that the Trump administration recognizes that tolling is all for that socialist liberal Portland and not for us, a nice conservative district, even though I'm a Democrat.
Why are you a Democrat?
Well, there's a line, the center, my book, that used to be that there was no, the Democratic Party went to me. I was a John F. Kennedy liberal. We were commie-hating, public service, great society people. And then the Cold War got over with. You couldn't even be a socialist. You couldn't get a job. And the Cold War got over with in 1992. And all these people have been born since then who have no idea about socialism, and it all seems a great thing to them again. And so you have to convince all those people, hey, you know, socialism doesn't actually work, you know, Venezuela, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't make me a Republican. That just makes me a JFK liberal with no base, because they've all become Bernie people.
Yeah.
But I'm still right. I still believe that we can't have concentrated wealth. We have to train our workforce. All of the things. My 8 items on my when you get the voters pamphlet, you'll see my 8 items, and they are all highly democratic as of circa 1992.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you ever held a town hall meeting?
Town hall meetings. I have been to
a yes or a no?
I have been to these things, and they are such a waste of time that I cannot believe it. We have Facebook, we have video conferencing, we have a million people get on these video games. There's so many ways to address your constituency besides 30 old people in a room, and I'm an old person, so it's not a hit. 30
old white men.
Old white men, yeah, in a room listening and saying.
This is bad, old white men.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So I am not going to drive around, and meet with 20 people in a church. We're going to do it on, and I'm online every day. I talk to at least hundreds of people every day. I am known for not backing down from any debate, and I just want to hear it all.
Will your office staff conduct training in internet use for the other old white men out there who have never touched a computer? You're ignoring a lot of people. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
I actually know exactly what you're talking about, right?
There must be some way to.
Yeah, it's got to be.
There is a chunk
right.
that is.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
the League of Women Voters is conducting 4 forums. I hope that you're going to.
I am not doing.
You're not doing it? Okay.
Only if,
well, that's great.
Only if all the candidates go. If all the candidates go, then I want to go. But I don't want biased questions in a room full of people who've already made up their mind before they even walked in the door. But when we went to Cathlama, which I did participate in, that was all the candidates, and I did fine. It was great. I loved it.
Okay.
And plus, it differentiates me from Republicans.
Yeah.
Once you hear a Republican speak, it's like, no, he's no Republican. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're going to run out of time in a little bit, so I want to make sure that, since I just blew off the last person I interviewed by talking on one issue, is there an issue at the top of your head that you would like to talk about?
I will say something that no one else is saying because it's very taboo, but since I'm not going to get elected unless all you people recognize what a great candidate I am, is that there is going to be inflation. We have 7 major bubbles going on right now, and everybody is just flying high, and you need the very best representative in Congress to make sure that the banks don't get this bailout money this time. You need to make sure that all the people who are in debt, $55,000, which is the average credit card debt in this country, and all the people who are underwater on their mortgages and all these other things, they need to be bailed out first. And there needs to be a very loud and aggressive voice that says, let the banks go, let's take care of our local people.
Very interesting. I thought I was pretty depressed before we sat down. I mean, I'm thinking about the kids being pulled from while they're nursing at their mother's breast, and now I'm really depressed. So the market's going to explode again.
The market is held up by 5 stocks. They're called the FANG stocks. They're bought by the central bank. All the central banks in the world buy up stocks to keep the stock market secure so that people continue to invest in stocks. And this is primarily to save the retirement funds, right? Primarily what's going on propping up the stock market is to keep the retirement funds, because there's $20 trillion in retirement funds that people don't even know is gone. See, they still think on paper that $20 trillion is there, but it's not there. This market will collapse as soon as the FANG stocks, that's Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. When they're gone, this whole thing's going down. And we've been through this before. It's not even scary. People are always worried about running up into the hills. No. We just need Franklin Delano Roosevelt style programs, and hopefully in 2 or 3 years and some inflation, and when we come out of it, it'll be fine.
What's going to happen to the Social Security Trust Fund in 2034? What do you recommend? Private investment or?
No. The governments, nobody can predict the future by saving money. And I always get in trouble for this. Remember, I'm a CPA. But you can't save money. That's just predicting the future. Some people have been lucky with it, but so have people been lucky in the stock market. Any kind of retirement needs to be pay as you go. So that means it needs to be fully socialized. It needs to be taken out of this where some new immigrant is paying on the first dollar taxes for some relatively well-off people to get money. No, it needs to go into come out of the general fund. And there will be no breaking of the Social Security. You just print more money. And a lot of people are really, oh, well, that's going to cause inflation. Well, we've already got 40 trillion that we can point at. Instead of printing it for the banks, let's print it for the people. And Social Security be the very first thing that you take care of. The very first thing you print the money for, Social Security.
Thank you. Thanks, Martin.
All right.
Really, or do you go by Dale? No, you got your JD and your MD and all that for a certain class of people out there, and then
Right.
you have your country Dale name.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And what is your website address?
I'm Martin Hash, and it's a nice coincidence that my website is martinhash.com.
Oh, please. All right, it's been a pleasure. And I mentioned to the others that we might do this again, and so I hope you consider
Sure.
gracing us with your
No
presence.
problem. I have
Okay.
all kinds of other really crazy things that you probably need to hear.
Okay, well, I'll try to read your book before then. Okay, thanks.